everyone, and welcome back to the CLSR. And I'm your host, the counselor. Just want to let you people know you can get a hold of me at TheCounselor That's the counselor at gmail.com. Now, I want to say to all my wonderful listeners out there, let's continue to spread the word like the wise old bird and put your money where your mouth is so we can handle this biz. Take care. Hello, welcome to the CLSR, and I'm your host, the counselor. And today we're going to be talking about people talking about you behind your back. Well, I got to tell you right now, I just experienced that, and it doesn't feel good at all. And the thing that really bothers me is when it's a friend, then you go, okay, this has been a lifelong friend, and then I'm hearing this, you know, we were getting together, and I kind of walked in on it, and I knew they were talking about me, and they actually were talking about, and they tried to make light of it. I didn't feel good at all. I almost felt betrayed, and it ticked me off. Really, it pissed me off. And the reason why it pissed me off is because I'm thinking, you know what? You should know better. I don't do that to people. I don't talk bad about people behind their back. I really don't. I consider myself a straight up person. All right? And I kind of let it go. It's been recent, but I kind of let it go because I'm like, I knew this person for years, and I kind of just made slight of it. Because, you know, a lot of us, we try to talk like as if we're going to address the issue, and then really we don't really. We kind of just downplay it because we don't really want to get into it. Oh, we just feel whatever. You know, that person's obviously got some issues. But then, I got to be real with you. Something happened where a family member was talking bad about my back, behind my back. And you know what? This family member made me think, like, you really don't respect me. Is this a competition? Sometimes you got to watch out for that. It's sad to say, but siblings sometimes can get real nasty. And they're doing things that are manipulating. And you know, it's not just that you get agitated. It's just the fact that you don't like it. And you kind of want to know, like, why is this happening? And where's the respect? If I don't do it, then why are you doing it to me? And the truth is, when it's family, it really bothers you. I just think, you know, there has to be a level of respect, but there isn't. And sometimes we got to acknowledge that there isn't. And it's just the way it is. And, you know, they figure you went around and they're going to talk the way they want to talk, but it's so two-faced. I call it two-faced, as many of you do, but it's real. And I'm really agitated. And I think I had to talk about it because, you know, it's nice to talk about many different subjects, but when it hits home, I'm frustrated and I'm ticked. And I thought maybe we need to get into it a little bit more because, because you feel like, I don't know, like you want to cuss them out. And you know, when you get those family members that, you know, they can't take it. It doesn't matter how much you try to rationalize your frustration and, you know, tell them your point of view and give them your peace of mind, you know they're not going to be able to take it. Many of you know what I'm talking about. You know those family members that they don't mind dishing it out, but when it comes to them taking it, they can't handle it. So you know if you say the wrong thing to them, oh, you're not really going to speak for a very long time. And a lot of people out there are going to say, well, I don't care, because if you're disrespecting me and talking bad about me, well, I don't care. Well, the truth is a lot of us do care. So you try to walk that fine line. But in the end, it just stays with you. And see, I was driving a long distance and I was thinking, this thing's on my mind. It's bothering me. And it didn't even really matter who I was talking to about it. It didn't lighten that feeling because it hit home. And it started to make me think about some of the things that were happening. And I started to reflect on some of the things that happened in the past, and when I realized that they were doing this talking bad about me, I started to say, well, maybe that's why that didn't work out, because there was somebody in the back really setting off that negativity and, you know, making me look less than in front of other people, and that disturbed me. And I just figured out, how am I really going to go about doing this? Counselor likes to give his advice, but I started reading up on it a little bit because I had to. It was bothering me. I thought, oh, you know what? I could just get rid of that thought. But the truth is, I couldn't. It was really getting to me. It was just, you know, I hate that, man. It bothers me. See, it feels pretty awful to have people talk about you behind your back. Since this is the kind of gossip, it may be subtle,
It's often hard to pinpoint the source, but when you know the source, right? I mean, it really gets under your skin. And you probably make matters worse by trying to confront the people gossiping. See, they do say the best course of action is to ignore them. You might also engage in positive activities to cope and try to change your perspective on gossiping. And I think that's really about a space and education. But you know what? Some cultures, we take that deep, and it's almost like real betrayal. Especially when it's in the family. But let's talk about how we're going to handle gossiping. See, one thing is truly enough. If you don't want the situation to escalate out of control, I got to be realistic. One of the things is to do nothing. Maybe you got to talk to other people, right? But doing nothing, it is an option. Though you may have been tempted to act out or confront the person, sometimes the best response is to ignore gossip. Just think, the person didn't give you the consideration of saying what they said to your face. Don't give them the consideration of taking it any further. Stop the negativity by ignoring it. Many people gossip for attention or just to get a reaction, and if you ignore the gossipers, they may get bored and stop talking about you. See, this doesn't work for everyone, but I think I do need to give you some of your options because it does work for some people. And some people even go so far as to treat them with kindness. Another great response to gossipers is a pleasant attitude. They may be bewildered as to how you could treat them so kindly when they have spoken negatively about you. Plus, if you reinforce your upbeat attitude, you may make the person feel guilty for talking about you in the first place. Pay the other person a genuine compliment like, wow, you worked really hard on these flyers. Those graphics look great. Now, I know some of you are going to use some sarcasm in that, and maybe you have to. Try to sound genuine, especially when giving compliments. You don't want to come off as sarcastic, although some of you will, or insincere, as this will only make things worse. If you can't find something to compliment them on, try helping them instead. For example, you could open a door for them or help them carry something that's like possibly heavy, right? Think about that. Sometimes you just got to be like some of my family members and set limits with gossipers. It's true. If you have to spend a lot of time with people who talk about you behind your back, keep them at arm's length. Just because you have to be around them doesn't mean you have to like their attitudes or be their best friend. Be cordial, but refuse to get close to gossipers. And by all means, and I mean this, don't tell them anything personal about you, which could later serve as ammo for even more gossip. Chatting is not the only way gossipers get personal information. If you suspect that they might gossip, don't give them your username or social media password, none of that stuff. And you try your best to verify the motives of the messenger. If a dear friend or acquaintance was the one who told you about the gossip, you may want to make sure this person has your best interest in mind. Most good friends would rather not spread any negative information about you that may hurt your feelings. If this person is involved in the rumors, try to find out why they felt the need to come and tell you and how they reacted to the rumors. I know this is going to sound crazy, but there are people that get off on upsetting you and they use other people to do it. You know what I'm talking about. Such and such is rumored. Meanwhile, such and such has been rumored about all these things about you for all this time, but yet they weren't telling you in the past, but now they seem to be confronting you with the other gossip. You know what I mean? You might ask questions like, how did you know this was going around? Or what did you say when they were spreading that rumor? You may even simply ask, why are you telling me this? To better understand their motives. You don't necessarily have to end your relationship with the messenger, but it may be wise to watch this person more closely. They may not be as innocent as they try to appear to be. They could be fueling the gossip rather than trying to stop it. Let the messenger know that if someone has a problem with you or something you did, You'd rather them tell you about it directly than spread gossip. Say something like, next time you hear about such and such gossiping about me, please ask them to talk to me directly. And please don't make the mistake that many of you do engaging in this gossip. Oh, some of you just turn into drama queens, right? Because you heard something, so you become so reactive. Try not to engage. Don't engage in gossip. Everybody does it. Try not to be one of those followers. If you're being talked about, then you know how terrible it feels. However, you aren't helping matters if you are guilty of gossiping too. Some people just like to discuss other business, but they can't do that if they don't have an audience. The next time someone tries to gossip to you, say, this is starting to feel like gossip. I'd rather not talk about them if they're not here to defend themselves. If you gossip about other people, then people will find it more difficult to take you seriously when you ask them to stop their gossiping. Like, seriously, think about it. I mean, talk to someone in authority. Not just school and work, right? Somebody who has influence. Talk to someone. If malicious gossip is interfering with your performance at work or school, you may need to take the problem to a higher up, a teacher, principal, or supervisor. They may be able to put a stop to the problem. You might say, I'm having trouble with another student or coworker. I think this person is spreading rumors about me, and it's really affecting my ability to focus at school or work. Can you talk to them? The student or employee in question may have a reputation for gossiping or bullying, so your supervisor may want to take disciplinary action. And in some cases, they may not want to for fear of that bullying. And you might have to take other matters like go above them, right? Seriously, it depends on what's going on, how bad it's stressing you out. There are times when you just might have to distract yourself. It can be hard to stay focused on your work at the job when people are talking about you behind your back. Instead of giving your attention to the negativity, pour your energy into positive activities to distract yourself. You might reorganize your desk or go for a walk around the block, go chat up a friend, or set up a personal deadline to finish a project. I know some of you right now are saying, nope, I'm confronting it, we're battling. And that's what you do. Next thing you know, you're unemployed like Pretty Boy Floyd. That's not what you do, getting aggressive. You got to learn to speak. Okay, but some of you just go to it. When somebody starts talking, next thing you know, you're both walking out back and fists are flying. That's no way to handle the situation. Okay? And then I recommend that you spend some time with some positive people. Because clearly these people who are gossiping about you, there's something about you they don't like. And they're putting that message out there. And sometimes giving them too much attention isn't going to help. You have to understand if that's where you want to be and who you want to be around. So I really suggest you spend some time with positive people. See, when people are talking about you, it's easy to feel isolated. And you can combat this feeling by making an extra effort to be with people who cherish you, respect you, and treat you with mutual respect, right? These people can boost your mood, improve your self-confidence, and even make you forget negative gossip or rumors. Call up your best friend and ask them to hang out. You might also spend more time with your partner or family. Sadly enough, there are people going to tell me, well, counselor, the one who's doing that gossiping might be my best friend. Well, the truth is they might be. Sometimes the people close to you are going to try to hurt you. Well, give them some space. You've been there before, right? And some of you are scared. You don't want to give your best friend any space because you're afraid that they'll make other friends. Well, sometimes that's why they're gossiping. And the inevitable is happening. You don't want to believe it. You don't even want to see it. But they're doing it to create issues. Maybe they're trying to get rid of you as their best friend. So if you see these signs going on, you better start planning, right? Because best friends, I know they're not easy to come by, but sometimes you need a break from them. And sometimes the words that you use are not going to work. Sometimes you got to get some space between you and your best friend, especially if they're doing that gossiping. And I know it's hard for a lot of you to believe that that's happening. Okay? But you have to remind yourself how great you are. You got to appreciate yourself. Being talked about behind your back can make you question your strengths and abilities, especially by somebody who's close. Don't fall prey to self-criticism. Instead, try to remember your value as a person by purposefully thinking about what makes you great. Sit down and make a list because you do have it. Or what makes you good. What makes people appreciate you? What makes you get along with a lot of people? Include all your positive traits, things you like about yourself, and features others admire about you. You might list things like great listener, good shoulder to lean on, or I'm creative. Try to give yourself at least one compliment each day. It can even be something small like, or your pretty eyes, or your bright smile, or your calm demeanor. There's things you can find if you're really looking, but if you're feeling sorry for yourself, you're in a bag, you ain't going to find nothing. You got to look. Do something nice for yourself. Positive actions bring about positive thoughts and feelings. Change up that environment. When you're getting down on yourself due to gossip, treat yourself as kindly as you would a friend. Try to schedule a little time to be nice to yourself every day. You could walk your dog or play with your cat, listen to your favorite music or sing in the shower, write or draw something, volunteer, consider giving yourself a bigger treat at least once a week, such as a manicure, going to the mall or the movies, eating your favorite ice cream. Yeah, do something for yourself. Okay, because a lot of gossip is about people who aren't happy with themselves or they have some form of jealousy. You're never really going to figure out their reason for doing it. They ain't even going to admit it to you. But sometimes you can't put your energy in that. Okay, you got to reframe that gossip. Don't take it personally. You can deal with people when you understand they're going through their own stuff. You're only doing all that talking because you got something going on, right? You can deal with people talking about you behind your back by remembering that their words are a reflection of them, not you. You can't choose what others say about you, but you can choose how you react to it. Right off, gossiping is something the other person needed to do for themselves. Refuse to be a victim of someone else's issues, and the counselor is telling you they got issues. And maybe you need to talk to them about it. But maybe you need to give them space until they learn to talk about it. You're never going to know and realize how hard-headed people can be. But sometimes it takes time. Recognize that a person who gossips may be doing so because they feel insecure and are trying to make themselves look better by putting others down. That is often the case. Realize they may be jealous. They just might not feel themselves, or they might be competing with you. It may not feel like it when people are talking negatively about you, but this often happens because there's something about you that intimidates them. The person may be envious of your looks, abilities, or popularity. Their nasty words may simply be a way to hurt you. If someone is jealous of you, try to be nice to them. This will give them less gossip fuel because something's fueling them. Something is, but you don't need to buy into it. Recognize poor self-esteem. Another common denominator about those who gossip is low self-esteem. People who talk badly about you may do that to make themselves feel better. The person talking about you may regularly feel negative about themselves or a lack of self-respect. As a result, they talk negatively about others, not just you. Remember, if they can talk bad about you, they can talk bad about anybody. It's just the negative behavior they're exhibiting. Don't assume they're only talking bad about you. Assume that they're talking bad about many people because that's their behavior. See, that's why treating a gossip kindly or complimenting them may end the negative comments. These people may simply want some positive attention because they feel bad deep inside. I know that sounds counterintuitive or counterproductive. Sometimes this is some reverse psychology, but you may have to use it. I'm sorry. Be nice to them sometimes. However, if this does not work, the counselor is saying, I need you to realize that a lot of people who are gossiping, they have a lot of issues, and sometimes spending too much time trying to figure out what it is not worth it. Sometimes you have to confront people And understanding how to do that is very important. I think a great way to confront people is to be a good listener and tell people genuinely how you feel. Like considering a best friend. Don't just go away. When we talk about ignoring it, you can ignore it for sure. It's a great strategy. But there are times when you just can't ignore it. But I think one of the best ways to confront it is to tell people genuinely how you feel. Like, those things that I heard you say, they really hurt me. And it's important to kind of hear people say, don't accuse people just because somebody's telling you. Try to, you know, you have to make the judgment, but I think it's important that you say, hey, listen, you know what? I heard this, and this is very upsetting to me. See, letting them know how you feel may start up a conversation, where you let them know and then talk about it. And you got to be prepared too, because there are some people who will go, I didn't say that. Flat out lie because they're caught. So you want to be a good listener and say, you know what? This is how I felt. And if they come out with this, I didn't say nothing, say, well, listen, you know what? If you did say that, that would hurt me. And then they'll try to redirect you. Well, who said that, right? That's the immediate response. Well, who said I said that? Meanwhile, they did say it, but they're trying to redirect it to the other person. You stay firm and say, well, it doesn't really matter who said it. I just want to let you know that word or rumor that's going on out there would really hurt me. And it would really bother me to know that somebody out there is talking negatively, because I'm not talking negative about anyone. So I would appreciate when people don't do that to me. And see, that gives them a way out as well. And they'll go, well, I ain't doing it. And they're going to guess or whatever. But you stick to opening up about how that would make you feel, as opposed to being accusatory. Like, what are you talking to me? I've seen it happen in so many instances. I'm in the middle and I'm seeing two people go at it and it's just arguing back and forth. This, that. Now, here's a flip on the script. It's all nice, but there are times where you might argue. But see, sometimes if no matter what, some of us cultures, we got that red blood inside us and we get a little bit heated. And sometimes instead of going to the jump, we start arguing, building ourselves up. Well, knowing that sometimes we're going to argue is not necessarily a bad thing, because you can kind of prepare for it. And see, some people actually understand what's going to escalate the situation further. So they prepare by talking to that self-talk, right? They're talking to themselves. Well, I know. So they prepare when there's going to be a confrontation. And they know that, okay, listen, I'm going to say my piece, but when they go on, I'm not going to engage, because people are very well aware. So sometimes realizing that people are going to argue is okay, as long as you prepare for it and you understand your limits and where you're not really looking to fight or escalate the situation. Sometimes you just can't avoid it. You're going to be talking to that person. And if you are going to talk to that person and confront them, sometimes it's good to have a supportive person around so that you're making it clear. Not a group or crowd that could intimidate, but depending on the situation and how big that person or aggressive that person could be, because sometimes people are gossiping to get that reaction from you so that they can get into a physical confrontation. So don't try to bring your whole crew. Talk to them and maybe have the person stand to the side just to make sure, it doesn't get out of control. But don't bring a whole crew on there so the person can get into a jump situation, because that sometimes does happen in certain situations. Counselor is very aware of this. Trust me. So you got to be aware that the situation can escalate, and sometimes you can't, see exactly how much it could escalate, but it's better if you prepare, and then you can limit your engagement and stop things before they get out of hand. Okay? Some of you already know, you got the good sense and the judgment to know this person's going to pop. So it's better not to go through it. Sometimes it's better to just keep it ignored. Hey, that person's got their issues. I'm not buying it. Some of you are going to ignore it anyway. But acknowledge to yourself that it's going on. Do you understand? Ignoring it doesn't mean not acknowledging that the gossiping is going on. Ignore it. Don't feed into it. Okay? So the counselor wants you to be like the wise old bird and spread the word, because gossiping hurts. There is that old saying of sticks and stones may break my bones, but names will never hurt me. I don't know who came up with that, but you know that's a lie. Names do hurt, right? They do. They hurt. You say the wrong thing, some people pop, but you don't need to. You got to get control of yourself. They hurt your feelings, but it doesn't mean you got to lose control. Okay? Get control of yourself. So, thank you, listeners, and be like the wise old bird. Spread the word. Thank you.